I'll mute out while you're talking.
Welcome to Metal Ben's Chronicles, where metal freaking lives. And with me is music of destruction, also where metal fucking lives. And what we're going to do right now, we're going to review a death metal classic that came out almost 32 years ago as we speak in 1991. I'm talking about the second studio album by death metal legends Autopsy. That's right. And we're talking about the legendary album Mental Funeral, which to me is an absolute classic amongst death metal. So, yeah, right now we're going to break down the lineup and where this album was recorded and the month it came out. So the album was released on April 22nd, 1991 on Peaceville Records. That's right. And it was produced by Autopsy and Hammy. And the record was recorded in 6 days, from November 20th to November 26th of 1990, clocking in at 37 minutes and 54 seconds long. That's right. So now what we're going to do, we're going to get into the lineup here. Okay, obviously you have the legendary Chris Reeford on vocals and drums. That's right, and what an amazing talent it takes to play drums and do vocals at the same time. So then we got Danny Corellis on guitars. Then we got Eric Cutler on guitars, vocals on Slaughter Day. And we got Steve Cutler on bass. And that's your lineup for Autopsy. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to get into the track listing here, and I'm going to give you my opinions on each track on this 12-track affair of death and doom. All right, so the album opens up with Twisted Mass of Burnt Decay, and what a great way to begin this freaking album. Very punky sounding. You know, you get those fucking punky D beats to begin this thing, and you get those dirty death metal like guitar sounds, you know, to begin this thing. And now this track is interesting in its own right because it does start out it starts out pretty fast, but then in the middle it gets kind of dissonant with the riff styling in the middle there, and then it gets very doomy and you get this great guitar solo over top of it, you know. And it's weird because it's only 2 minutes and 15 seconds long. But for 2 minutes and 15 seconds, it's almost structured like a 10-minute long song. And it's pretty amazing how they added like all those elements, you know, in just a 2 minute and 15-second long track, you know. So then we get into track 2 here, In the Grip of Winter, clocking in at 4 minutes and 8 seconds long. Now this one's pretty interesting too, because this track right here almost has a stoner doom type of vibe to it. It really does. It's really interesting. Yeah, I hear like definitely Masters of Reality era Black Sabbath type of riffing going on. It's like I said, it's very stoner sounding for like a death metal track. Really interesting, but you know, it's obviously very dirty sounding, you know. Pretty cool track. Flesh Crawl is next, just a short little 36-second instrumental, which is very Sabbath sounding. It's kind of like, if I were to compare it, I would compare it to a track like Hand of Doom, with the simplicity of the riffs and the bass lines, you know, following the rhythm. You know what I mean? It's really cool stuff, and it's basically an interlude into the next track, Torn from the Womb, one of my favorite tracks on here. What a killer track. Again, very doomy. There's a lot of, there's a good bit of time changes in this one. You know, I mean, for 3 minutes and 19 seconds long, you definitely get a lot of time changes. It's pretty interesting stuff. Like I said, it's very doomy. The speed's definitely cut back on this track. And you get this very just guttural atmosphere that's very funeral like atmosphere behind this track. Yeah, it's like your guts are being fucking churned and tore the fuck out when you listen to this track. That's how fucking ugly and sick this track sounds. Just really good stuff. And a very grim death metal like vocal delivery by Chris Ryford. Indeed. So then we get to Slaughter Day, 4 minutes and 4 seconds long. The speed picks up a little bit. You get a little bit of the speed, but then, you also get the blend of doom and darkness and despair in this track. Another just absolutely killer track. And we go to track 6, Dead, clocking in at 3 minutes and 18 seconds long. Another very killer track. I love this track too. I mean, this one's more of an instrumental. I would say there's only a few vocal lines in this track, which kind of sounds like spoken word parts in the middle, But man, this track is very doomy. It's just another awesome track. What more could be said? Robbing the Grave is next at 4 minutes and 20 seconds long. Another great track. And this one basically continues that doom and that darkness, that seems to be a theme on this album, when it comes to like the doomy riffs. I mean, it's very just doomy. Again, another song that don't really speed up much, but you know what? That's okay because it sounds freaking cool. And I gotta say, this track has some great vocals too in it. Just absolutely amazing stuff. Hole in the Head is next. The longest track on the album at 6 minutes and 3 seconds. Again, basically continuing that theme of just darkness and doom and despair and just guttural riffs, What more could be said? I really like the riffs in this track too. And that's basically another theme on this album. The riffs on this freaking album are absolutely huge and impeccably massive, Just great stuff. Yeah, I really enjoy that track. Destined to Fester, again, another one, that's pretty damn doomy, This one, seems like it's got a lot of changes in this track too. It's doomy. There's parts that are kind of fast, It's a pretty interesting track in its own right. So yeah, Destined to Fester clocks in at 4 minutes and 34 seconds. Then we go to Bonesaw, only 45 seconds long. Now, this one's one of the faster tracks on here. You get a little bit of blast beats in this one, too. This one definitely has a very punky delivery, I enjoy it for being only 45 seconds long. I think it's a pretty damn cool track. Dark Crusade is another amazing track on here. Now, this one definitely does have a bit more speed to it. There's sections of blast beats in here, but then you get these doomy-ass rips, too. Just excellent stuff. I mean, what more could be said? I mean, it's an excellent track. There's not a bad track on this freaking album. So the Mental Funeral was basically an outro track, just a very dark acoustic little piece to end the album. Nothing to really say about it. It's a good way to end it, though. Very dark, very, kind of depressing sounding, But all in all, it's pretty good. I mean, yes. What an excellent album. I mean, this album's a classic. To me, it's a 10 out of 10. It's a perfect classic death metal album. I love it. To me, this is one of the... To me, as far as, like, riffs go, this might be Yeah, this might be Autopsy's best album when it comes to riffs. That's kind of debatable because there's a couple other albums in their discography too that have great riffs too. But anyways, I give it a 10 out of 10. Now I'm going to turn it over to Music of Destruction for his review of the album.
Well, that was a great breakdown of the record, Ben, and a great take from you. And it's an honor to be here once again, collaborating with my brother for this OSDM classic, Mental Funeral. And you heard the man over there, released in 1991 on Peaceville. And, for 1991, I mean, there wasn't too much out at this time that sounded like this. And this is a really amazing record. And I'm going to start off here talking about Twisted Mass of Burnt Decay. What a fucking song title, man. What can I say about this one? Sick, vile, disgusting, heavy, dark, aggressive, putrid, and downright twisted depravity, with all the right ingredients of a truly passionate band, with all the hallmarks of morbid fascination with death and decay. And this one hits all the right spots for some truly sick, vile death doom. Next up, you have In the Grip of Winter, and holy shit, dude, this one just destroys, everything going on here, completely eviscerates you and assaults everything that's good and pure in the world. It literally has this amazing doom death groove that sounds so primal and brutal, and the framework completely fucking slaughters everything back in 1991, in my opinion, one of the best. This track is pummeling, crushing, visceral death doom, one of my favorite Autopsy tracks. Next up, you get Flesh Crawl. This is just a quick little interlude here, not much to say about it, but it does have an interesting guitar-driven ambient piece here that's thrown in to give the album a bit of atmosphere, and this works out pretty well. Next up, you got Flesh Crawl, man, and from Flesh Crawl, bleeds right into Torn from the Womb. And man, does it ever sound like the song title? This is raw, vile, gross, morbid, and truly disgusting and depraved insanity, but also a slower pace on this one as its bone-crushing, heavy doom-like elements come in with some dark, militaristic-style drum work, with some unconventional song structuring. Very awesome track here, and this is what really sets Autopsy apart from so many of the pretenders back in 1991. And there were quite a few that were kind of trying to overtake Autopsy's reign, but of course it never happened. Next up, you got Slaughter Day, and we got another primal slab of rotting flesh with a pus-filled, disease-ridden sound that just oozes with decaying bodies and monstrous creatures that lurk in the nightmares, like my shirt. I mean, that's what it fucking sounds like, and like the album cover. You got some insane guitar work here, great drums, vocals. Chris Reifert, man, I mean, what a legend on the drums and the vocals. Not an easy feat. The guitars, drums, the bass, it's all crushingly aggressive, dominant, absolutely sick. Of course, Chris Reifert, a fucking maniac on this album, but I mean, isn't he always? Just killer stuff here. Another great track. Next up, you got Dead. And well, if you wanted to know what that sounded like back in 1991 from Autopsy's perspective, well, look no further than this crawling, doom-laden piece of vile, rotting filth that crawls like rigor mortis-ridden corpses emerging from the graves after 1,000 years of slumber. The stench of death is high in the air on this track as the looming doomsday event of the zombie apocalypse festers and drips with plague and a lust for blood on this deadly track. I absolutely love it. Next, you got Robbing the Grave. This one is a faster, more brutal death metal track. Full tilt on this one with some churning, sick riffs, bombastic, chaotic drums. Of course, you got Chris's savage, sick, primal, raw vocals. Then it slows down and changes pace for a doom-laden, crawling pit of madness with some abysmal, cacophonic intensity that builds and crashes against thick, rotting walls of morbid, decaying rot that leaves you longing for death. Killer fucking track here as well. Next, you got Destined to Fester / Bonesaw. So Bonesaw is kind of like the last part of the track. And I mean, good Lord, could this get any more brutal and powerful, guys? Sonic, assaulting brutality. You got some crushing low-end doom-laden despair and rot clinging to you like a sickness that melts the flesh off your body, leaves you choking on disease-filled, asphyxiating slime that poisons you from the inside out. You got some great festering open wounds that drive the infectious guitar madness here with some amazing drumming and bass. Of course, Chris Reifert's insane vocals on here as well, just absolutely crushing. Then you got Mental Funeral closing it out, which is just a little ambient passage, like Ben said, to end this album, which closes it out on a very high note. And, overall, I also have to give this album a fucking 10 out of 10. I mean, this is essential death metal from 1991, and I absolutely love it, bro. So there you go.
Excellent review, bro. Yes, definitely a 10 out of 10. I mean, it doesn't get any better than this when it comes to death metal. I mean, to me, this is how death metal should sound.
Yep.
Raw, primitive, dark, doomy, atmospheric,
Yep.
catchy riffs,
Yeah, man.
Not always blast beats and not, it shouldn't always have blast beats and clean production. To me, that's not organic death metal. It's got to be raw.
Yeah,
it's
man.
got to mean something,
Yep. I agree, man. Yeah, and it's really strange that I feel like Autopsy is one of those death metal bands from the first wave that kind of gets overlooked in favor of Morbid Angel and other bands like that. Even Obituary kind of overshadows Autopsy. And you got Morbid Angel and Obituary. Those were the really big ones in the first wave. And of course, bands like Necrophagia. Oh, I forgot Death. Sorry, don't crucify me, guys. So yeah, you got Death in there too. Like Death, Obituary, and Morbid Angel kind of overshadowed so many bands that were starting out with this extreme style of metal. And I kind of feel like Autopsy got pushed to the back. And of course, Possessed. But I mean, Possessed only had 3 albums out before Jeff had his tragic accident. So, but I just feel like Autopsy is kind of the underdog in the first wave, man. For sure.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I mean, yeah, like you said, when it comes to death metal, you hear about the main bands like Death, Obituary, Cannibal Corpse, bands like that, Morbid Angel, but you don't hear many people really talk about Autopsy much. And Autopsy is just as important. They're definitely one of the pioneers of death metal. I mean, after all, Chris Ryford came from Death, so he's been around for a long time, So he's just as an important factor to death metal as, Chuck Schillinger or Jeff Becerra or anybody like that is,
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that Autopsy, I mean, I can't wait to, you and I should collab for Morbidity Triumphant when I get it, because
we should. That's another really good album.
Fucking, I was blasting that today, man. I've listened to Mental Funeral, Severed Survival, Retribution for the Dead, and Morbidity Triumphant all today to prepare for this review. Yeah, man. And that fucking record, Morbidity Triumphant, really reminds me of these first 2 records from Autopsy.
I was thinking that too. It definitely does,
and
they stuck true. And they stuck true to the raw production too.
I know,
it's still very raw, those earlier albums, which is something I really like.
Hell yeah, man!
But
for sure, yeah, man.
Anyways, anything else we want to cover for Mental Funeral here?
I know there were vinyl and cassette versions. I'm not sure. Didn't Peaceville do the vinyl as well? I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure they did. Oh yeah,
I guess the vinyl.
Yes, right there it is.
Is that Peaceville? Am I right? That's nice too.
Yeah, I got this a couple years ago.
Sick, man. I still got to get it.
Oh my god, it's such a classic.
I know, man.
One of my prized possessions in my collection for sure.
I bet it is. Man. Yeah.
So right on, man, just an excellent album.
Chuck, yeah, it is.
And I'm always on the lookout for future Autopsy, when it comes to new material in the future. So,
hell yeah.
Should definitely be interesting.
Definitely.
But yeah, 10 out of 10 is the final verdict. Thanks to everybody out there in the chat that showed up for this. I'm sorry I'm not reading your comments.
I've been reading them. Janelle's been here just praising us both, saying we're badasses, and yeah, she loves the album. She loves the reviews. Wyatt was here for a while. We got Paul. You'd know Paul. I don't know Paul.
Oh, I know
Paul
Paul.
DeVito.
Paul's real
Paul
cool.
DeVito's here. We got Wyatt. We got Isaac. Isaac's here. Well, let's talk in the chat for a bit. Then I'll move the pop up over here.
What's going on now? What's up, Isaac?
Yeah, man.
If he's still here. How's it going, Paul?
I can hang out and chat with these
I gotta
dudes.
figure out this. Gotta figure out this Nightbot a little better. I see it's working, but it's not.
Yeah, it kind of bitched at Janelle because she was putting in emojis like hearts and kisses for me.
Yeah, it did that to somebody else the other day when I was live.
It's not Ben's fault, honey. That's the default message. So Ben didn't do that.
Yeah, it's not me. I got to figure out the Nightbot a little
I'll
better.
Help you with it. I'll help you with it, bro. Don't worry. I got you back,
cool.
man. Yeah, man. And you know what, guys? There's going to be many of these fucking collaborations. Because me and Metal Ben, the brothers from hell, man. We're here, and this is what we fucking do. And there's going to be many more.
Exactly. So yes, there's definitely going to be more of this in the future. Definitely. Because, like he said, we're the brothers from hell. You know.
That's right, man. That's right.
And we're going to keep on bringing you the metal, the right way.
Yeah, from the fucking underground, man. That's right.
Exactly, man. Exactly.
Yeah. And you know, one thing that I've always loved about Ben is, you know, he's watching his channel. I get a lot of knowledge about bands that I don't know about because he's into a lot of the classic stuff. I'm more on the, you know, he loves the extreme stuff, but I'm more on the extreme spectrum for a lot of stuff. But when I come here and hear him talk about bands like Stryper or Uriah Heep or Sirith Ungol, and just to name a few that he is very crazy about, it's always nice to come in and just check out some reviews of stuff. I'm like, oh, I've never heard those guys. Oh, I've never heard those guys. And, you know, if Metal Ben's going to talk about it, well, then there must be fucking something to it. You know, so It's nice to come here and get that classic take on bands that you're really into. It's really cool for sure.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like your channel. I go to your channel to hear the extreme shit, the underground black metal stuff. That's why I go to your channel. So
yeah,
because I want to know more. I mean, that's the one thing about metal. You never stop learning.
No,
you know,
you don't. It's a lifelong journey, man. It's not something you just pick up. It's something that's a lifelong path, you know. Exactly. And, you know, guys like me and Ben, we spent fucking thousands of dollars on our collections, on our merch, on our collections, you know, and for us to sit here and get in, you know, do these reviews. I mean, this stuff isn't easy to be these, you know, content creators. You know, there's a lot of work that goes into this. And subscribe to Ben, man. This guy knows his shit. He loves his metal, and he definitely he's real. He feels it down to the core of his soul, just like I do. So
exactly, brother. Yep. Exactly.
Yep.
I mean, when it comes to metal, you gotta love it. If you don't love it, you're not true to it.
That's right.
That's the way I look at it.
Yeah. Paul DeVito says he loves the new Autopsy album. Yep, so do we.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Fuck yeah, I was blasting that today, Paul. Hell yeah, man. Wyatt's Metal Life, Chris Reifart is a legend. Yep, he is. Now, is it Reifart or Reifart? Am I saying that wrong, Ben?
See, I might be saying it wrong too. I think it might be Reifart.
Reifart. That's what I thought it always was.
I could be wrong too. I mean,
we'll just say it both ways, and then it doesn't fucking matter, right? So
exactly. That's the way I look at it.
Isaac, what's up, man?
Yep.
Once a metalhead, always a metalhead, Janelle says. Yeah, that's right, baby.
Yep.
That's right.
You're exactly right about that, Janelle.
She says, you guys fucking rule. Thanks, babe. Yeah, and she's the one that designed my my green screen set. So, I mean, I'm very lucky. Very lucky. Like, that's exactly what I was looking for, you know. And she learned that from scratch using Blender. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Very awesome looking.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
So I think for our next collab, you want to talk a bit about that?
Sure.
Oh, it's because you're spamming emotes, Janelle. You gotta quit spamming emotes. Nightbot just picks up with that, honey. It's okay though. So for our next collab, we're gonna do Deathhammer, Chained to Hell.
That's right. Yes, definitely.
2018. Hold it up, Ben.
Here.
I have to get it.
Oh, there it is.
There it
Right
is.
there. You
Chained to
guys
Hell.
can see it.
Black
This
Speed
freaking.
Thrash from Norway.
I recommend this.
Yeah.
I recommend anything by Death Handler, but this
Yeah.
one's exceptionally good.
Raw as fuck, organic, primal fucking madness.
I mean, if you like
Little bit
primitive
of
sounding thrash metal, man, you'll love Death Hammer.
yeah. And they don't overdo it on the solos, which I like. I mean, they do have some, but they don't overdo it, which is always appreciated by me, you
Yep.
know. Because for me, guitar solos, they have to be there at the right time. Can't overdo it, you know. Our Autopsy released a new album this past fall called Morbidity Triumphant. Yeah, Robert, we were just talking about that, buddy. Absolutely. Yep.
Yep. Very good album. What's up, Robert?
We're gonna collab on that one as well. So there you
Yep.
go. So as soon as I get
It's,
Morbidity Triumphant, Metal Ben and I we're gonna review that one up for you guys too. But first up, we're gonna do Death Hammer next. So I got to buy that album first. But yeah, if you want to get into like Norwegian black speed thrash, these guys, I couldn't believe it, Ben. When you fucking showed me those guys, I was like, is it 1984 again?
that's what it sounds like. That's why
Yeah,
I like it
man.
so much.
I know. Like, holy
Like,
fuck, what an album.
yeah,
What
it
an
definitely
album.
reminds me of Early Destruction. Like, Early Destruction was like really raw like that, which is really cool. I don't think so. We're definitely
Yeah.
not going to review that
Isaac, you
unless
all
you
should
want,
review Infinite Annihilator. No.
unless you want a
Not
half
unless,
hour rant on it.
yeah, you want us to sit here and yell at the camera for half an hour, maybe.
Yeah, and lose our fucking minds.
Yeah.
Shit,
Well, how much they suck.
pretty much, man. Wow, what a terrible band.
Yeah. Yeah. That's putting it lightly, bro. That's putting it lightly.
That's about it, brother.
Yeah, man. Fuck.
Just seeing here. All right, man. Anything else we need to cover here?
No, man, I think we're good, man.
All right, man. Well, this is our review of Autopsy's Mental Funeral from the Brothers of Hell. That's
Hell
right.
yeah. That's right.
So, yes, go subscribe to Music of Destruction if you're not subscribed to his YouTube channel. And if you come around here and you're brand new, subscribe to this channel.
Yes, subscribe to Metal Ben's Chronicles as well. We kick ass, guys.
Totally, man. So, yes, we are the Brothers from Hell, and we are out. And keep it fucking metal and
Keep it
bang
fucking metal.
those fucking heads.
Bang those fucking heads,
All right.
man. Cheers, everyone.
All right.